Hello, everyone out there in YouTube land. It's your boy, Darth Bobcat, doing another Indiegogo review. This one is Blue Mamba. And you ever buy something and you're not sure why you got it? I think I ended up backing this one just because I noticed, oh, hey, it's another Indiegogo comic to back, and it's pretty inexpensive to do so. When you're comparing it to a Jawbreakers at $25 or a Cyber Frog at $35, I think I ended up doing about $12 for this one. It seemed like a relative bargain, and at the time there weren't things like, well, we didn't have the sheer glut of Indiegogo books that we have to these days. This one is going to be kind of hard to review because, well, actually, just because there's a lot of, I've actually had to mark the pages here that I can actually show that make points I want to make. So what is Blue Mamba about? Blue Mamba is basically the story of a assassin who is tasked with dealing with a local Antifa cell that has been ramping up protests in San Francisco due to a Christian shop owner not being willing to cater to gay or the LGBT community in his town. First off, I would ask the question, if you're gonna be like that, why are you living in San Francisco? Like, if your shop is not willing to cater to the gay community, San Francisco does not seem like the place to set up shop. Now, I kind of think this is kind of interesting because it portrays Antifa and other groups in a very negative light. So it kind of seems like it's the inverse of a lot of more political comics we've been seeing these days. But Blue Mamba here is still being hired by a. Let's see, I don't dare look at the book to double check to see if the senator who hired her was wearing cowboy boots. I seem to recall he was. And the description on the Indiegogo page was talking about deeper elements. And in fact, let's do a little bit of review here. First off, art-wise, yep, cowboy boots. I was right. Looks like my memory is good for something. So, yeah, she basically goes undercover to infiltrate this LGBT group who's going violent because they're sick of, they're just generally sick of being treated like second-class citizens. She seduces her way into the bed of the leader of the organization. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting rereading the Indiegogo presentation was that it talked about how our character Blue Mamba here was talking about, or we'd explore how she dealt with having to go against her principles. I can't say I got that impression from the actual text on the page. And in fact, I would say that for all the words here, none of it sticks. I kept having to go in reading spurts on this one. Now, you might be wondering, what are these sheets of paper? Well, this book came with a whole bunch of art inserts and trading cards and things like that. And let's see here. It's the last page. Trouble with sitting on an inclined surface like this is I've lost my bookmarks. So I'm just going to point my phone away to keep things YouTube friendly. All right, so there's some action scenes, whole lot of cheesecake. I would say that there's more, and that's inaccurate. I was going to say there's more the pages with softcore scenes than there are actual non-softcore pages, but that's not true. It's just the impression I got, informal impression. I would say that the book doesn't do a great job of establishing who people are. Like, I see this character and I'm like, wait, who's this red-haired woman? As I recall, I don't remember her showing up again in this book, unless she's somebody else in disguise for some reason. But in other scenes, there's a man who seems to be doing some tech work for her. I'm just kind of confused by some of it. Now let's talk about art review here. As you can tell, this is pretty much a cheesecake book, and as such, the focus is on making Blue Mamba and the other ladies look as good as possible. And I would say the art achieves that. Also, this fight scene is, I'd say, pretty well done. They go for they establish the background over here, and then they just carry into a minimal or non-background here. And everything looks good. I say it as we have a shot that I kind of noticed. I might be off, but it kind of looks like this. Is this a screwdriver, bayonet, spear? Whatever this is, I feel like it's angling a little bit. Like it isn't exactly a straight line. I mean, it's still an impactful action bit, but it's just a little bit hard to... it looked a little bit off. Now, despite this one being... so for some artists, I might call this a lazy panel, but the silhouettes are actually very impactful. And you see the wind up before the stab there. And I really like the way that this artist renders art. I like the way the artist arts. I like the way this artist renders action. I like this in this flashback here. I like this little not echo silhouette effect. They're very good at selling motion. I'd say that the character models are usually pretty clean. Character models, I'm talking like it's a video game. Anyway, characters stay on model. The art is good. I would read more stuff by this artist. Now, as for the writing, I feel like I'm a little bit not the right audience for this book because it's a bit more explicit than I usually read or usually like to read. And also, I kind of felt the same sort of discomfort having Antifa be the villains than I do when a comic book company or a comic book writer does another group of white supremacist analogs or KKK analogs. I guess I just don't want to see too much current politics in there at all. I might have preferred if they had made up a Antifa analog group rather than making me think about news the whole time. Would I recommend Black Mamba? I have a hard time recommending Black Mamba just personally. Now, if you've been looking at the art and you're thinking, wow, I really like the way these ladies look, then you're the target audience than I am. I don't believe I'll be picking up the second issue of this, but it's this isn't a rip, obviously. For one thing, I don't like to rip comics anyway. And just for another thing, I would call it a passable example of something that just isn't for me. The characters didn't really stick with me, but the art was impactful, but the storyline was a little bit too ripped from the headlines for my taste. Not enthusiastic. Well, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any comments on my commentary here, I read everything. Have yourselves a great day, and good night.